Hi guys, it's Pi here. This is my workshop for today. We're going to be starting with some basics real soon, probably in about 5 minutes or so. We're going to run through that for maybe like half an hour or so. Then I want to do some vocal scratching with you guys. Scratching. And then hopefully after that will be a little bit of a Q&A and we can go through some other advanced techniques if that's the sort of thing you'd like to do. So yeah, just to repeat, we're going to be starting the beatbox workshop. Yeah, okay, so I think that just about brings us up to 9 o'clock. So for those of you that have tuned in without really knowing what this is, hi OCB, good to see you, man. This is my beatbox workshop. I've been running these for the last few weeks or so. We start at about 9 o'clock with some real basics. Just like if you're an experienced beatboxer, we're just going to run through some basic drums, and that's always really good stuff to practice. And then after that, I tend to go and do something a little bit more advanced. This week we're going to be doing vocal scratching. Scratching. So hopefully some of you guys can learn a little bit of that as well. And then after that, we'll just do like a Q&A. You can ask me any questions you want. That might be about beatboxing in general. That might be about the sort of beatbox community. It might be about a specific technical point which you want to pick up. But either way, I'm really happy for you guys to be asking questions the whole way through. So I'm going to start with some absolute basics. The way I normally start a beatbox workshop. Hello, who's this? Hello, Helen Painted. Yo, the way I normally start a beatbox workshop is with some words, which hopefully all of you guys will know. So we start with boots and cats. So if you guys can join in with me, then we'll go from there. And when I start doing this, even if I've stopped beatboxing, that means you guys need to keep going and just see how you do without me. Okay, let's give it a go. So we start boots, cats, boots, cats, boots, cats, boots, cats. And you guys. Cool. So hopefully everyone can just say boots and cats. Yeah, really simple words just to get you started. But I promise you, we're going to be beatboxing real soon. So the next thing we do is yeah. Next thing we do is we turn we emphasize the B's in the boots and the C's in the cats. So we get something that's a bit more sort of like boots, boots, cats, boots, cats, boots, cats, boots, cats, boots, cats. And you guys? Nice. So hopefully you guys are starting to get that. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to drop the vowels in the middle. So we're going to drop the O's in the boots and the A's in the cats. And that's just going to leave us with the sort of hard percussive consonants. So the B's, the C's, the T's. So we've gone boots, cats. So if you guys just keep going without me. Cool. So you're hopefully starting to get some basic drums now. So the next thing I do with a class is I just run them through what they just learned. Yeah, big up to my boy Minimus joining on the live stream on the Instagram. The next thing I do with the class is just basically explain to them what they've just done. So what we've got there is a set of 3 drums. The B from the boots is the sort of big kick drum, which you play with your foot, sort of big round one on the floor. And that's just the B on its own. So let's try that. Cool. Yeah, tormented vocals joining in as well. Yeah, just going through some basic drums. Hopefully all the beatboxers who are just joining on Instagram know these drums pretty well, but we're just going over those basics, getting them really sound and really tight. So yeah, if you can where you are, just beatbox along with me, and we're going to focus on some basic drums and get things real powerful and punchy. Yo, yeah, big up. So the next thing we've got is the C from the cats. That is what's called the rim shots. That's kind of the metal bit around the edge of the drum. So we're going to practice that on its own. So that's just the C. So that's. And you guys keep going without me. Cool. So hopefully you guys are getting that one as well. And the last drum is the hi-hat. So that's the sort of flappy cymbal that goes up and down like that. So we can play that in 2 ways. We can play it shut, which is just a T on its own. We can play it open, and that's a sort of TS like we've had at the end of the boots and the cats. That's like a. So for the most part through this workshop, I'm not that bothered if you guys are doing a closed one or an open one. Let's just see now if you've got the difference between them. So we're going to start. And you guys on your own. Cool. So yeah, all we're going to do now is just put those back together with what we were doing before. So before we had boots and cats, and now we're just going to be thinking of those as 3 individual drum sounds. And it sounds really easy, but some people get really confused. Even though they're literally doing exactly the same thing like 5 minutes ago, they get really confused when they're trying to think of it in their head as 3 separate drums. So let's give that a go, just exactly what we're doing before. I'm going to start really slowly so all of you guys can keep up. And then I'm going to speed up, and the beatboxers who have got a little bit more experience, a little bit longer, and there'll probably be a few on there. I'm thinking Minimus a bit longer than me. So let's give it a go. So yeah, that's just the boots and the cats. So hopefully you guys are kind of starting to get those basic drums. There is one more drum I want to teach you, which is still kind of like quite basic. And yeah, big up Okami in the place. Yeah, I'm just running through a beatbox workshop. We're going through some basic drums. I'm sure you know them pretty well, but hopefully if you get a chance to practice them, you can get those real tight, even more powerful and punchy than you already have them. All we've done so far is boots and cats. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take the, so that's the C from the cats. That was our rim shot. We're going to take that out. And we're going to get a new snare drum and put it in. And again, we're just going to start by using words which you guys already know. And that word is push. So if you guys do it with me, push, 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 and keep going. So hopefully you guys all have that pretty locked down. It's just the word push. You can all say that. Next thing I'm going to do is same as before. We're going to emphasize the consonant at the start. So that's the P. And we're going to say push, 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 push. That's it. Keep going. And really do what you're saying. Really push that sound out. Push, push, push. And the last part of this is we're going to drop the U in the middle. So we're dropping that vowel in the middle of the words. And all we're left with is so that is your basic snare drum. What we're going to do next is we're going to take that snare drum out. Take the rim shot out that we had before, put that snare drum in, and then we're going to try and do the boots and the cats. But instead of the we're going to have a okay. So let's give it a go. Again, I'll start real slowly so everyone can join in from the start, and we'll see how fast we can get. So yeah, I think there's some more people joining. Hi Aisha. This is just a beatbox workshop. We're running through some basic drums and we're having a bit of fun with it. And we've just learned the boots and the cats, and then we've taken the from the cats out and put in a snare drum. So hopefully you guys are starting to get that. Next thing I'm going to do is, in fact, I'll tell you what, if any of you guys have got any questions about those basic drums, I know we've kind of rattled through them quite fast. Just let me know, because I really want to answer people's questions. I normally do these workshops live in front of a group of people, and people are really happy to just put their hand up and ask things. But I find with the live streaming, sometimes it takes people a little bit longer. They've got to think of a question and they've got to type it out. So I'm going to give you guys maybe a minute or so to think of some questions and pop them in the text. And if you've got any questions, then let me know. Otherwise, we'll just crack straight on with the workshop. And while you guys are thinking of questions, I'm going to just have a little bit of a jam and a little freestyle. Yeah. Yeah, so still more people joining. So we're live streaming a beatbox workshop right here. I've just asked people if they got any questions, and I've not seen any questions. So hopefully you guys are all following what's going on. If you guys are feeling pretty confident, then I'm just going to do a call and response. We're mostly going to be using the drums we've just learnt, but I'm going to throw in a couple of others and see if you guys can get them. If you can't, then don't worry about it too much. Yeah, it's going to start this real slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So hopefully you guys got some of those cool responses. I don't expect everyone to get everything. But if you guys are picking up a few of those different things and having some fun with it, then I reckon I've done my job pretty well. So the next part of the workshop is breathing. Really important part of beatboxing. Breath control is all about the in and the out. A lot of people ask me how does a beatboxer keep doing it? Surely you run out of breath eventually. And there's basically one really simple secret. And that is that you come up with a way to make a drum sound while you're breathing in. So I might do something like this. And all of that's inwards. So hopefully you guys are seeing it. That's sort of how you do it. Big up to John Parsons joining on the Instagram. Yeah, so we're going to start you off with something real simple so that all of you can work out how to do this. And this is a beat which a group called the Fat Boys put out in the 80s. It was like a worldwide #1 bestseller, top the charts across the world. And it's real simple and a really simple way of showing how beatboxers do breath control. And what they did is just like 3 guys all a cappella. And the beat basically went like this. And the reason I show that one is because all of you can kind of see what I'm doing there. All I'm doing is going like taking a sharp breath in, and that's kind of like an inward drum sound. So let's start by trying to learn the real basics of that. So we're going to start with the B from the boots. So that's just like a. So just kind of saying the letter B on its own, or letter P, whichever you prefer. Some of you might be vocalizing it, so it might sound a little bit like this. P, 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 p. That's fine for now, but if you try and get rid of that bit afterwards, then it'll sound a lot punchier and a lot tighter. But whatever sounds you're making at the moment, let's start with a and then a. So it's a kick and then a breath in. Yeah. So copying me. Cool. And then so in, out. And then one more part. So in, out, in. And if you put it into a flow, into a loop, so hopefully you guys have got that first part. Again, as I've been saying all the way through, if you guys have got questions, you're really welcome to put them in the chat and just let me know what you're thinking. Anything that you say that's like any compliments, anything that's good that I'm doing, anything that's bad I'm doing, any things you're not getting, really happy for you to let me know. But if people are feeling okay with that, then I'll just show you the second part of this Fat Boys beat. So that's just basically exactly the same thing, but with a snare drum. So. So that's snare drum, in, out, in. Let's try it. Cool, right? Again, some of you might be sort of vocalizing that snare, doing a bit more of like a push, push, push. If you're vocalizing it, that's fine. But as you develop, that's something you kind of want to get rid of with your drums. You want to have them like nice and tight and punchy. And that means kind of mostly being like lips and air. So we've got two parts. You've got the, so that's the kick, in, out, in, and the, and that's the snare. I just realised Carmi's watching. He's going to crucify me for that terrible inward bass. But there we go. So that's the real basics of it. There is one more thing that's really useful for you guys to learn for inward breaths, and that's kind of what I was doing earlier. That's an inward snare. It's just a really powerful technique. Lets you breathe in quite a lot of air and sounds really punchy in your beats. And the way I start by teaching that is, so do you remember when we were doing the cats earlier? We had the C at the start. We're basically just going to be doing that, but inwards. So, hi, Mini Beatbox. Commenting on the YouTube. Nice to see you. We're just running through some basic drums, and at the moment we're doing some inward noises. So we're just trying to get a inward snare, and all it is just a letter C or like a letter K on its own, but then trying to do it inwards. And a lot of people get really confused with this, especially beginners. They don't get how you can make a sort of inward K noise. And basically the best way to explain it is kind of biologically. So if we start with the outward one, which we've all been doing. Oh, cool. Hi, Minnie. Thank you very much. Yeah. So there's a lot of beginners on the workshop. So don't worry, we're taking it nice and slowly, and hopefully you can pick something useful up. So if you do the sort of outwards rim shot, that is what you're doing. Is you're just making like a letter C or a letter K, and biologically what you're doing is you're just pushing the back of your tongue up to the back of your throat, and you're holding it there. Then you're building up pressure in your lungs, and then you're releasing the air suddenly, and that's what lets the air out, and that's what gives you the noise. That sudden rush of air. So all you're doing for the inward one is doing exactly the same thing. So you're pushing the back of your tongue up to the top of your mouth, up there. And then you're building up the pressure, but this time you're building up the pressure by trying to breathe inwards. So you're sort of pulling your diaphragm down, And then when you release the tongue, exactly as you did before, you get a rush of air inwards, and that's what gives you the noise. Mini beatbox. I don't have a Discord at the moment. No. Something I'm going to have to pull together. Discord is a channel which beatboxers use to beatbox with each other. And I'm being asked by someone if I have one, but I don't. So yeah, let's have a go at that. See if you guys can get it. I'm probably just going to give you guys a little bit of time to play with that noise and have some fun with it, because it takes a little bit of time to get, and sometimes it just means sort of having a few goes at it. So just remember what you're trying to do is push that tongue up to the top of your mouth, just like when you make a K noise, and then you're trying to build up pressure to breathe in, but your tongue's kind of stopping you from doing it. And then when you release the tongue, putting it down, it lets the air in. So yeah, you guys have a little jam with that, and I'll give it maybe a minute so you guys can think of any questions you might have, because that's quite a tricky technique. If you've got any questions about that, then definitely pop them in the chat and let me know, and I'll see what I can do to answer them or try and explain it in a different way. And yeah. So I'm not seeing any questions at the moment. So yeah, as I've said, if you've got questions, give me a little message and I'll see if I can answer them. But if I don't see questions, I assume everything's fine. So it sounds like you guys are pretty much there. You've pretty much got your basic drums. You've pretty much got your breathing. So I want to move on to some vocal scratches. So a scratch is what a DJ does with a record when they're sort of playing it backwards and forwards. And depending on what's on the record, you get sort of different noises. So if there's sort of a snare drum, so the which we were doing earlier, you get something that sounds like. And if you've got like a vocal sample, you might get this. And then there's different notes which you got on the record, and different sort of drums and vocal samples and things give you sort of different effects. So we're going to go through a few of those. So that first one I was showing you, the sort of white noise maybe, or like sometimes you get it with a snare drum. You basically start by using the word chew it. So I don't know if any of you were kids in the 90s, you might remember you could get sweets called chew its. So we're just using that word. So chew it, 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 chew it. So hopefully you guys can all say chew it. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop the T at the end. So we just say chew it, 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 chew it. And again, hopefully you guys are all getting that, because that's usually a bit easier than doing it with the T. And then the last thing we're going to do is going to whisper it. And then I'm just going to show you one more trick to do with that, and that's just putting a sh in there. So we're going. So let's try a bit of call and response. So I'm going to do a little scratch, and then you guys are going to give it back to me. So I'm going to go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, And that's a really simple little white noise scratch or a little snare scratch. So that's the first bit. Next, we are going to do vocal scratches. So if anyone's got a word that they want me to scratch, then let me know. Just type any word in the comments and I'll see if I can scratch it. I can usually do most of the requests I get. But until I see a comment come in, I'll just do my own thing. So check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Yep. Yeah. I'm back. I don't know if that's Minimus actually getting back into the conversation if he's telling me to scratch that, but I'll give it a go. We're back, y'all. Yeah. So that is vocal scratching. How do you do it? So we start with just the name Eric. So we start with the name Eric, and you guys copy me. Hopefully this is really straightforward because again, it's just a word which all of us know. So Eric, 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 and you. And again, we're going to drop that C at the end of the Eric. So we just get Eric, 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 Eric. Cool. So that's the basics of it. And then literally the only other thing you need to know is as the record slows down, the pitch drops. Air. And as you pull it back, it speeds up. Okay. So let's try that real slow. Air. Air. So let's have a go with that. So if you guys have got a voice, sort of low voice like that, that's fine. If you can get a falsetto, it sounds awesome as well. So and then one more trick with it is there's different vowel noises you can use. So at the moment we're using an E and an I, rip, with an R as the connecting consonant. So let's see if we can try some different vowel noises. So we might go I, A, E. So let's try it. Cool. There's a few more different things to try. We're starting to get into sort of slightly more advanced techniques. So if there's some beginners on this, then don't worry too much if we're leaving you behind. But we've also got some kind of advanced people who want to try different things. So you can try we've tried different vowels. We can also try the different connecting consonants. So we had an R there, but we could try a V or a W. So is it, Minimus wants me to give it to him in a beat. Okay, I'll give you it in a beat in a second. I'm just going to explain this point. So you can try different things out. That's different vowels and then different connecting consonants. And different sort of tones of voice. And then I suppose there are some advanced people on the call. So if you can get like your tongue curled like that, then you can get a nice weird little noise out of it. So ow. So that's my super pro tip for the Instagram crew. And by request of my boy Minimus, I'm going to put it into a beat. Yeah. Oh yeah, and one more really important pro tip: if you want to try and get words in there, like "I'm back" is the one which I got asked to do earlier, or "sick" is one I've just been asked to do now. You just start by saying the words. You're starting to say the word "sick," and then I'm getting to that I in the middle of it, and that's a vowel that I can scratch on. So I'm going to go sick. And it's just playing about with different points in the word where you can find sounds to scratch on. So like a vowel or a nice connecting consonant like a V or a W. I think that's probably about it for vocal scratches. Drum scratch. So this one is, so we're going sort of back towards the beginners. Hopefully most beginners can get this now. So this is basically like if you've got a kick drum, like a that we were doing earlier. If a DJ scratches that, it sounds like this. So it's really commonly used by DJs at the start of a song to give it a sort of really fat, powerful intro. And it's really easy to do as well. So it's kind of, if you think of the words DVD, then that's a really nice way to think about it. So you're going. And then it's just about getting the power into it. Again, if there's some beginners on here, a lot of this is kind of building up the muscles. So building up your diaphragm, building up the muscles around your sort of throat and mouth, and your tongue, of course. So some of it you won't get straight away, but go away, practice it, have some fun with it, and I promise you it comes. So let's try it again. So you've already got a nice little routine there. You start with a drum scratch, and into the boots and the cats. Scratch. So let's try that all together. I'm gonna count you in, and so it's going to be 4 for the. It's going to be 6 for the boots and the cats, and the last 2 we're going to do as a every. So let's try it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Okay, I think we're just about there. Oh, there's one more I want to do. Again, this is kind of like, I've never tried to teach this in a class, so I've got no idea how easy it is for beginners to get this. But it's a really nice one if you can get it. It's like a tone scratch. So a lot of the time you hear DJs playing it over like a nice piece of music. And if you get the tone right, you can sort of tune it with the thing that's playing in the background, and you can kind of fit in really nicely with what it's doing. And it's basically just a whistle. But then you're playing with the lip shape to get a sort of scratch on that. So you're changing the tone. So that's about it. If you guys have got any questions, you're really welcome to ask them. That might be about any of the stuff we've done today. It might be about other beatbox technical stuff. It might be about kind of the scene and how you get to meet people. It might be about all sorts of different things. It might just be about what I do the rest of my life and I'm not beatboxing. You're welcome to just ask away. I'm probably just going to have a little jam for the next sort of couple of minutes. And if I see any questions, I'll try and answer them. And if not, then I'll probably call it a day. But yeah, lovely jamming with you guys anyway. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Instagram if you're not already. And hopefully I'll see you all again. I do these every single Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So yeah, hopefully see a lot of you again. But as I say, if you've got any questions, I'd love to hear them. Yeah. So Subsonic Beatbox, big up my man Subsonic. Asked how long I've been beatboxing for and what I do for a living, and then he's also very nice, but I won't read that out. I'll feel a bit sensitive. So I've been beatboxing since I was 10, so that's 22 years, which is just crazy to think about. More than 2/3 of my life I've been beatboxing. For me, it just started in the playground, little like. I didn't know what beatboxing was, but I just enjoyed it, so I kept doing it. And it wasn't until years later that I sort of heard about people like Razel, who was massive around like 2000, and still massive now, of course. But back then, he was just like absolute like forefront of beatboxing. Like he was the only person who was in that league. And yeah, like he was just destroying it. So I was really inspired by him. And then I met loads of people from the UK beatbox community. And again, that really inspired me, meeting other people who did the same thing as me. And we kind of all inspire each other. And from that, we've sort of built this amazing like international community of beatboxers who go to like international events all over the world. And yeah, there's just loads and loads of love in the scene. I can't remember what the point was. Oh, what do I do for a living? So I do make some money from beatboxing, basically just doing live shows and workshops like this when I'm not in lockdown anyway. But my main living is as a civil engineer. So I basically design flood defences, which is a nice little thing to have when you're sort of trying to pay rent and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a little bit about my life. I've not seen any other questions come in, so unless I might give you another like 30 seconds or something to pop some questions in. Otherwise, I'll definitely call that night. Cool. Yeah. Sounds lovely chatting with you guys. I'll be doing the same thing again this time next week, 9 o'clock every Tuesday. Tune in, sign up, follow me, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and hopefully I'll see all of you again very soon. Cool. Peace. Good night.